Today, we're painting for charity. The Nova Open Charitable Foundation was cool enough to send me some Stormcast models to paint. I'm going to paint them up, ship them back, and then they're going to put them into a giant army that they're going to raffle off for charity. How cool is that? Freaking cool. I do have a deadline. They have to be shipped out fairly soon. So I'm going to go quick, have a lot of fun, and make them look nice. Let's try it out.
First off, I want to say thank you very much for whoever bought these for me to paint. I am awfully excited about it. Let's take a look. What is this? Nice. A personal little message. Brian, thanks for choosing Herrick Games and Hobbies. Jade. That is awesome. This place is obviously super cool. Now we have 4 Stormcast Cavalry guys we're going to do.
Dracothian Guard.
So I decided that I was going to do the Stormcast axes, and the leader's going to have the hammer. I'm going to follow the instructions here and just start snipping some of these things free and putting them together. Typically I just start with 1 miniature, kind of fumble through that one a little bit, and then the remaining ones are a lot easier after that. I'm really excited about this. They look really cool. Check out the drakes. They're so cool looking. I love these things. I've never painted one, and I am super stoked to do so. Yeah, they're looking cool. Check this guy out. Yee! Okay, he's missing half of his face. Let's get that fixed. Little scary. Ah, much better. Yes. Very cool looking. Alright, here he is. This is the leader with the hammer. Looking rad. Very cool. Great detail on this guy. I did the storm axes for these guys. And yep, they're looking cool as well. You know what though? Let's pretty up that hammer a little bit. I'm going to take the storm axe with the banner on it, and I'm going to cut the banner off, and we're going to go ahead and put that on the hammer. We'll just fancy up that leader a little bit, make him stand out just a tad bit more. I'm just kind of winging it here, so I'm just going to cut right at the base there, and then we are going to line it up and see what other cuts I need to make. We're just going to snip a little bit off in the middle there, and after I get done with that, we're going to line it up again and see how it looks. All right, let's take a look. Let's just line it up here. Oh, seriously? All right, well, we'll fix that. In the meantime, I need to adjust this a bit. It's lining up fairly well, so what I'm going to do is take the part that's going to be laying against the hammer itself, and I'm going to dig into it a bit, so that way it gets put in place and it sinks in a bit, and I'll have more area to glue that piece on. And here's how it looks. I think it looks pretty fun. Again, these guys are great. Next, bases. I'm going to go to one of my go-tos here. Cedar bark chips. The thing I love about cedar bark chips is that they look like rocks, and they're actually soft, so you can sit there and cut them and shape them how you want. The only tricky part is that they're soft, so when you glue them to the base, you want to put a lot of glue onto that base surrounding the bark chips, and then it's usually a good idea to pin your models through the bark chips and into the base as well. And they look legit. And like I said, I'm going to pin them. So I'm going to put a pin in a bunch of these feet, and here we go. So I just drill the hole, put in a paper clip, make my cut, and that's that. I then glued some topsoil around the bases to not only secure the base, but also give it a super cool natural look. Again, this army is being painted for a charity raffle. Here is the paint scheme that they want me to paint it in. Now let's get some paint on these guys. Now they're all based up. I use the zenithal priming technique. Goes from black to white. Now we're going to work on the star drakes themselves. I'm going to start working on the drake skin first because it's the deepest part of the model. We're going to work from the inside out. I think they're called star drakes. I could totally be screwing this up. I'm using contrast paint here. This blue is fantastic. And I'm not glopping it on real thick. I'm just doing kind of light coats of it, making sure it's not pooling too bad. And it's turning out really nice. Just trying to hit all the areas. The black primer showing underneath adds a little bit of a shade right off the bat. And now we get to his lovely face. Oh, he's so cool looking. Now I'm going to do an orange. So I'm taking this Citadel orange with some yellow ink. I'm going to mix it together and start throwing that all over the armor. One of my issues, and I don't know why, but I have a hard time liking any of the oranges that are out there. And I tend to make my own, and I still don't totally love them. Orange is just kind of my nemesis for some reason. But I tell you what, I do enjoy the way this turned out. It actually looks really nice with that blue. And I'm hitting all the armor that's not going to be black or silver. And if I change my mind and want to make one of those orange parts black, I just paint right over it anyways. So here we are. They're looking pretty cool. We have a bit of an issue though, because these are starting to look kind of like the Warhammer, what are they called? The lizard men, the skunks? No, the stinks? Lynx? No, oh, skinks. Skinks, yeah, that's right. So yeah, we might have to do something about this later. Now we're taking the Menoth white base color and we're going to paint over the banners, the horns, and the teeth, and the claws. Right now we're just getting our base coats down and we're going to shade and we're going to highlight later. Looking sweet. Now I'm taking Iron Hole Gray and we're going to paint over the areas that I want to paint metal later on. We're just going to get these base coats down and then later on we will wash and highlight. We are just cruising right along, having a good time, and painting some sweet minis. Now I'm going to take that same color and I'm going to actually paint the rocks. And I'm going to be real sloppy with the rocks because I want my rocks to be gray, but I'm going to put a lot of different colors in there as well. But using the same gray as what's on the model is going to help tie in all the colors. I'm going to take some pink and I'm just going to work on the mouths of the drakes. Nothing special here, just trying to get it all in there. And I'm going to paint the gums as well, and we're going to go back and we will fix those up later. Looks like I'm going to have to redo some teeth and stuff, but that's fine. So now I'm taking some metallic colors and I'm taking some black. I'm mixing them up. And I'm going to start hitting some of these gray areas. And here we are. Not too bad. Now I'm going to take some of this pink contrast color and I am going to just kind of wash the mouths of the star drakes and the gum areas. Now I'm taking Skeleton Horde. Skeleton Horde is a brown color and I am going to hit all the orange areas as well as all the banners and the horns and the teeth. We're just going to deepen up and darken up those areas and get some of that contrast paint in the recess areas. Obviously this is sped up quite a bit, but you can tell I am going pretty quick. I'm just going. We'll get some of the horns here. We'll get the claws. And again, we're going to hit the banner. And putting this across the banners, the claws, and the armor is helping tie in some uniformity to the miniature itself. As you can see, those banners really start to pop a bit more once you start getting this paint going into the recessed areas. We'll have to go back and touch up some areas later, but that's okay. This is still saving a lot of time overall. Just going. Just making sure there's no major pooling going on, so I'm kind of erasing that. And here's how he's looking. Looks pretty cool. I'm going to take some of that same Skeleton Horde and I'm going to go over the rocks themselves a little bit. just super wild, not really concentrating on any certain area. I decided I'm going to hit some of these plates and figure out what's going to be black, because I need to match this color scheme. It needs more black trim. So I'm just going to go through and use Iron Hole Gray and add some more of those areas. I am painting over the orange, but that's okay. Not a big deal. So here's how they're looking. Now I'm going to take some cold steel, which is a lighter steel color, like a brighter color, and I'm going to start dry brushing it onto the metal parts. Hopefully I don't break the hammer this time again. As you can see, it makes it pop a bit, and I am going quick. Make sure your brush is pretty dry because you're just trying to get the highlighted areas, the raised areas of the model. And that's how they're looking so far. I'm taking this contrast and I'm going to put it over the gray plates that I just painted. I'm going to try to get those to darken and darken and darken so it looks black. And I'm also going to just throw it in some other areas too for some shading. Again, I'm going quick. What I do when I do this type of thing is I just go for it, and you typically have a podcast on or have some TV show, at least one that I've already seen so I don't have to like look up nonstop, and just go for it. And here's how it's looking so far. Now I'm going to just add some straight black, and I'm going to go in and try to do some quick shading to the gray areas because I want them to look black. Painting something just straight black, you can't really do shading at all. So I typically do a gray, and then I shade with black, and I highlight with like a lighter gray, and it typically shows off as being painted black. I'm taking some of that skeleton horde and I'm going to mix in some black with it this time. I'm just going to do a little more shading on the orange and the kind of khaki bone colors. Just going for a quick, more dynamic look. And here is what we got so far. Looking pretty cool. What I'm going to do is take this off-white color. We're going to start dry brushing some highlights on. I'm going to actually just dry brush over this entire thing except for the metal areas. I want to go super quick, and this is a great way to do it. Getting quick highlights. Is it the cleanest thing in the world? No, but it'll look nice when it's done. It'll look nice on the table too. So here's how they're looking. But I tell you what, it's fun how they're looking, but they don't quite look like that color scheme that they are asking for. That blue's really standing out and breaking up that scheme. Let me think. Alright, we're doing it. I'm going to take some of this gray contrast paint, put some ink in it, and you know what we're going to do? We're going for it. We're going to change this blue into a dark blue / black. I am just going to wash the heck out of it. So ink covers extremely well. That's why I wanted to mix in some of that contrast with it too. We're just going for it. I'm going over the Drake skin, but I'm also hitting some of those gray areas that I was trying to make look more black. This is going to start making it look a lot more like that scheme instead of the skinks. So bye-bye, beautiful blue cape. Now you're going to be kind of a blackish blue cape. And yes, it can be super nerve-wracking to do this. I'm not going to lie, I was a little nervous making this big change, but I had to because it just didn't look like the color scheme they wanted. And check it out. I think it looks pretty darn cool. And that looks way more like the color scheme. Yep. You can make major changes on minis. I'm going to actually take that contrast paint and put a little bit of ivory color in it, and I'm going to dry brush the highlights over that black. So the reason I'm using that instead of like a gray is because I do want it to be kind of like a super dark blue. Blue goes well with orange, and I'm trying to also not make this look like a Halloween thing. So we're just giving it some highlights, and I tell you what, it's turning out really nice. I dig it. Super quick and pretty darn effective. Check them out. Now I'm going to make that silver stand out a bit more. I'm using a lighter silver again, and I'm going to do some dry brushing since I kind of dulled it down so much. I went through this process really quick, so some steps I kind of go back and do over. You know, that's just kind of how I do things. It's probably not the most time efficient in the world. I'm trying to be efficient, but, you know, things happen. Now I'm going to take an almost white, and I'm going to start going over all the areas that should be white. Because I dry brushed and painted and washed all over these things. Just going to try to make those stand out a little bit. Going super fast. Try to put a little white in the Drake eyes here. While that's drying, we're going to blacken the base rim. I personally like black on the base rim. Battle damage. But hey, look at this guy. Turning out pretty good. Not looking too bad. Alright, so now we're going to put some little grass tufts down. Just using regular Elmer's glue. Grab some of these Army Painter tufts. And here we are.
Hey, got them done. They're shipped out. Made the deadline, so all is good. Let's look at the cavalry and talk about what I learned. Now, while I was under a deadline, I still wanted to make sure that I was having fun, so I just kind of went with it. I used a lot of the techniques of washing and dry brushing because I just wanted to go for speed. And there's nothing wrong with washing and dry brushing at all. Also remember, when you're painting for someone else and you have to paint their scheme, that can throw you off a bit at times because you're thinking, oh man, I'm not used to these colors, or this isn't popping out the way I want. And all I can recommend is just kind of keep at it, try a few things out. If you have to repaint or redo a couple spots, no big deal. Try focusing on one model, getting the base colors down, and seeing what you think, because that way you don't paint a bunch of models and then go, I don't really like that. Then it's a lot more time to go back and change what you wanted to change. Also, don't be afraid to make a big change. I started out with that really nice blue Drake. It looked like a totally different army scheme. The blue was just too dominant, so I just went with it and made that drastic change. And I like how it turned out. When you get a chance, do check out the Nova Open because it is so awesome. Someday I would like to get out there. Let me know if you've ever been there and comment below. I'd love to hear what you say about it. I hear nothing but good things. So when I got done with these models, it was pretty late at night. I was pretty exhausted, but I had to squeeze in the Pug Test. Let's see what happened. Yeah, she was sleeping. Actually, I'm gonna go see what she's doing now. I'll be back. Hi, baby Puggy. Hey. Hey. She was sleeping. What do you think? You like Stormcast? Now she just wants to play. Alright, I better go play. We'll see y'all later. Again, hobby and have fun. Let's... Guess what? Hey! And I have glasses now too. So, there's that. I hope it makes me look smarter. Like super smart. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Or extra nerdy. Which is kind of cool. So let's talk about So go say hi.